So welcome, and I'm Murray DL. I'm the Dean of the Merrick School of Business, and I really want to welcome, it's so good of you to join us tonight. This is one of my favorite events, and it's really important for both the University of Baltimore and for the Merrick School. I mean, after all, University of Baltimore was actually founded by entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurship is at the heart of who we are. And it's also so important for the way we educate our students. It's an important component of educating our students. And part of education, and particularly business education, is as much about doing things as it is about absorbing materials. And there's no better way, I think, than in actually proving whether you can do things than actually doing entrepreneurial things. And you'll see that with our competitors tonight. Entrepreneurship, there's a lot of debates about what entrepreneurship is, but at its essence, it's about doing something new. It could be a new product, a new process, a new idea. You know, isn't that what we actually want our students to do? We want our students to be thinking anew. That's going to be important if they're going to be future entrepreneurs, and you're going to meet and later on this evening some of our past student entrepreneurs who are now well onto their career as entrepreneurs. So, but it's also important if they're going to go into business, or students go into business, and it's important for leaders as well. So thinking anew. And this way of thinking is also very important because, you know, there just are some problems and issues that can be better solved by entrepreneurial thinking than by depending on government or philanthropy. And you'll see that in some of our competitors tonight as well. You know, our students are committed as much about having an impact on solving problems as they are also about making money. So that's the three reasons it's important. It's about doing things, it's about doing something new, and it's about having impact. And so that's what we're going to see tonight. And I want to thank all those who have really made this possible. Certainly, you know, our judges and we've had judges before this who selected the finalists, and our judges tonight are Henry Mortimer, who I'm going to introduce in a minute, is going to say a lot more about them. As well as our sponsors, the Pridgeon Family Entrepreneurship Fund, Joseph Carton and Harvey Silberg Venture Fund, the J. Ripley Entrepreneurship Fund, the University of Maryland Center for Advanced Ventures, TEDCO, ZMB Media, Pitch Creator. All of you are great partners, great sponsors. I really appreciate it. And now I really want to pass you on to our compere Master of Ceremonies tonight, who's going to tell you more about the competitors, tell you more about the judges, and tell you more about our sponsors. That's Henry Mortimer, who's the director of our Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. So again, thank you for coming. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Murray. Welcome, everyone, and happy Earth Day. We appreciate that you have chosen to interrupt your evening to join us tonight in cyberspace to celebrate entrepreneurship at UBalt. I know I speak for everyone involved when I say I would much rather be gathered together in the theater on campus and hosting this event in person, to have the chance to shake a few hands and offer some much needed hugs of encouragement and see your bright and shining faces in the crowd and hear your loud applause for tonight's participants. You know, believe me, they have earned it. But as we have all become accustomed to saying in these challenging times, we can't, not yet. So we will once again do what entrepreneurs do best. We will pivot and innovate a bit to bring you an online program that simulates our normal in-person experience as best we can, and one that offers you some new elements that we might not have been able to do in the past. For example, with the help from our Oz-like men and women behind the curtains, we have recreated a stage set that looks like the familiar Wright Theater. That way you can feel at home with us while you're still at home. I hope, I know, that you will enjoy yourselves tonight. One other thing, please make sure you leave a comment below to let us know that you're watching, and like or share or otherwise spread the word to your friends over social media so others can join in too. In a moment, I will introduce tonight's participants, but first I'd like to say a few words about the center, or as we say, the front door for entrepreneurship in Baltimore. For 15 years, that's right, it's our 15th year, the CEI has been encouraging and supporting entrepreneurial learning among UBalt students, faculty, and alumni. Our ongoing goal is to help students and others grow and launch business ventures while providing opportunities to educate, collaborate, and engage with the Baltimore business community. So what attracts our students to the center? We have several types of customers. We have the Entrepreneurship Fellows program, in which select students are encouraged to nurture and launch a business in their final 2 academic years. Entry into this program is based on demonstration of entrepreneurial acumen and motivation, as well as academic record. Students studying entrepreneurship who may already have their own businesses are likely to use our services, or whether they're considering developing businesses or exploring if entrepreneurship is a good career choice for them. And finally, alumni looking to access a range of services from initial counseling to physical space for setting up a new business. So what do we offer? One of our main goals is to provide emerging entrepreneurs with the resources they need to interact with the Baltimore community. We have partnerships with numerous local companies and organizations, including Startup Maryland, the ETC in Baltimore, OpenWorks, TEDCO, our USM sister universities, and other schools and companies and organizations in the area. We also offer workshops and seminars and several business pitch competitions, just like tonight, throughout the course of the year. And all our services are available to all UBalt students and alumni, as well as community members and faculty and students from other universities. Lastly, and in honor of this National Volunteer Week, I'd like to mention our Entrepreneur in Residence program, which taps the expertise of local volunteers in select fields. Notable alumni, as well as folks from SCORE, the local SBA, including lawyers, accountants, marketing and HR professionals, and other, they donate their time to mentor and counsel our students. Well, that concludes our little PSA. Now let's get on with the competition. So, the rules for tonight are as follows. Each of the finalists will pitch in one of 2 categories, aspiring and existing businesses, and we'll go alphabetically, starting with aspiring. They'll have 3 to 5 minutes to pitch their businesses via a pre-recorded video. Then the participants will appear live in front of a panel of judges who combined have up to 5 minutes to ask questions, with a few minutes to tally scores. Audience members, you play a role too. You will have a chance to vote for your favorite contestant. Log on to slido.com, search for our event code, which you'll see on the screen, 326739, and select Poll. First, I'd like to introduce our judges for tonight's competition. So let's call the judges up and wave while I call your name. First up, we have Lily Bangford. She is with T-Secure. Next is Laura Newman, a partner with NextGen Venture Partners. Troy Stovall, Executive Director and CEO with TEDCO. And Carolyn Urena, CEO and co-founder at Sisu Global. Thank you, judges. And next, let's introduce our finalists for tonight's competition. In the aspiring business category, we have Shelby Blondell, the inventor and founder of Shellpick. Derek Lau, who's representing StemTrick. Nikia Madison with Safe Pl8te Allergy-Free Grocery. Robert Myers, the inventor of Switchboard pedal management system. And Elizabeth Ogan, founder of Scribe. Let's hear it for our aspiring business finalists. Next, in the existing business category, we have Kellie Brown, founder and CEO of SpreadKarma. Nicole Mighty, head designer for Spiked Orchids. And Rebecca Thompson, creator of Cratecraft & Co. Congrats to you all for making it to the finals. So you might be wondering what's at stake tonight. Well, here's a list of the prizes that are up for grabs. As you can see, there's nearly $30,000 in prize money. There's also another special award coming up later, but I'll leave that as a surprise. So, on with the show. Normally at this point, I would be encouraging you, the audience, to cheer and cheer loudly for tonight's competitors. But as we have all become accustomed to know, things are just different right now. So I'm not suggesting you shouldn't make some noise simply because you're seated somewhere on the other side of this, this screen rather than in the theater at UBalt. Look, go for it. Cheer loudly. Just take it easy on your neighbors. Well, and another way you can make your voice heard, of course, is by voting for your favorite contestant using the Slido app. Log in with our event code, which is listed here on the slides, and select polls. Remember, the crowd favorite wins $1,000. So, is everyone ready? Well, great. Let's get on with the show, and let's give away some money. Our first aspiring business contestant is a double alumna at UBalt, Shelby Blondell, who is a serial inventor and founder of the Pl8te, a unique way to play guitar that breaks barriers and solves problems between the musician who enjoys playing with a pick and those who play without one. Shelby, the floor is yours.
If you play guitar, you know that frustration all too well. Dropping your guitar pick, it cracking, it breaking, it slipping. My name is Shelby Blondell, songwriter, singer, and inventor. And one day I was walking along the beach and I picked up this shell. It was the same shell that I picked up and was twirling between my thumb and my finger, and I realized that the shell hadn't cracked, it hadn't broken, it hadn't fallen. The shell solved problems that I had on stage, in the studio, and at home for years. It solved all these problems that I had had with guitar picks, and that is when the Pl8te was born. I'm happy and proud to introduce to you the Pl8te, the first ever curved guitar pick. Solving problems and breaking barriers, great alternative for those who are beginning to learn how to play, great for those pros who are in high energy, stage-light environments, and especially great for those of us who struggle with neurological, nerve, and muscular conditions where grip may be an issue. Now, why are guitar picks an issue? Well, here's the thing. Guitar picks are actually really hard to learn how to play with. They easily fall, easily crack, easily slip, easily twirl. Even these finger picks that grip around your finger, they confine your finger, making it hard to really strum. That's what makes the Pl8te a great alternative for every player. Now, let's talk about some numbers. Because of our high quantity, we're able to get the Pl8te down to about 30 cents per unit. Our profit margins are great. We're looking to sell the Pl8te in packs of 3. So for our direct sales, we're looking at about $6 per pack. And we're selling wholesale for about $4. The Pl8te lasts longer. And it's still a cheaper alternative than your finger pick. And it's more comfortable. Now, our margins are great. With direct, we're looking at about 84% and about 77% for our wholesale market. But our startup costs are pretty great as well. That's why the use of funds from Rise to the Challenge would be greatly appreciated, which would help us get the Pl8te into hands of all of our potential customers. As a member of the Recording Academy, I've been able to talk to some potential customers who are pretty excited about the Pl8te. In year 1, we're looking at a potential of $200,000 in profit, and we're looking at a 10x multiple. And I'm more than happy to get into the rest of these numbers when we get into the Q&A. Now, let's start it up, get into the Pl8te, into the hands of all of our potential users, and keep music alive.
Well done, Shelby.
Yeah.
All right, now it's time to ask the judges to ask some questions. Why don't we start with Lily? Lily, you get to have the first question for Shelby.
Well, first I'll say, Shelby, I loved your pitch, loved the music, and I love that how you got your idea walking on the beach and found something natural that solved a problem. That is great. So that's how you figured out how to create a new product. So, you know, it seems like you have contacts in the recording industry, et cetera. You know, could you, grow faster with more money than you're asking for? I was just curious, or, that you would win from this pitch competition.
Yes, I am a member of the Recording Academy, so I have been able to have some conversations since having this idea, and having conversations with some people who have actually become really excited about this idea, and have said, once this gets out there, we'd be more than happy and willing to see what we can do to help get this out with you. And that's why, if you've looked how I came up with those numbers for the potential TAM, even looked into some of the potential customers, even looking into Guitar Center as being one of the possible customers. And with more money, we'd be able to get more inventory, to get more product out there.
Another quick thing, I live on the Eastern Shore where PRS Guitars is. I mean, have you considered potential partnerships with, guitar making companies to, kind of as a package?
Absolutely. And PRS is actually one of the manufacturers I would love to have a conversation with. I've not been able to have the conversation with him yet. I have been able to have some conversations with some local people, like Guitargate, some other music therapy type organizations like the Children's Hospital Association. Paul Reed Smith is on my list, and he is definitely an organization I would love to have that conversation with.
That's all for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Henry, do you want us to just jump in?
Yes, please. Anyone else have a question for Shelby?
I have a quick question. First of all, great presentation. I really enjoyed that. I like that you made it so personal. We felt you come through in that presentation, which was wonderful.
Thank you.
And I liked everything about it. My only question is, and in fact, I even could see it in the stores. I was in my head, I was in Ron John Surf Shop, and these were being sold at the counter for $6. This is my question though. What's to keep anyone from walking on the beach and picking up shells and doing this themselves instead of sending you $6 for it?
And that's just it. That's why originally when I thought about making this, I wanted the idea to be picking up shells and making the shell pick an actual shell. But that's why we've changed the model into making a mold. So it would actually be made by making a mold and going the manufacturing route. Shells are much too hard of a material to actually play against the strings because it will break the strings much too easily. We have thought about down the line, possibly trying to have a material that we could place on a shell to soften the material. But as of now, that's why the funds for Rise to the Challenge would be greatly used to mainly go through a mold so that we can make the shell pick from a urethane plastic. So I actually have a mold right here of what we've been able so far to make the shell pick out of. So the use of the funds would be made so that we could actually get the mold made, so that we could actually get these manufactured and made, so that we could actually get them the inventory and actually get them into our potential customers.
Have you thought about sending them out to some influencers, Paul McCartney, folks who are, avid guitarists, and seeing if they'll use them?
Absolutely. And as part of our use of funds, that's part of our marketing and packaging, to be able to use some of that funding to be able to get it into the hands of some influencers, to really target social media as a really big outlet, to use those channels to really grow that market. And that's really how we see that 10x multiple really be able to grow through those channels.
Can you walk us, just to jump in a bit can you walk us through a little bit more of that business model of why did you pick the cost of $6 for that pack of 3?
And let me add on to that. And let me add on to that why the packets of 3. I want to understand the packet. Why the number 3? When in your write-up you talk about how many guitars can go through, like even in a concert, they can go through 3. So why packets of 3?
Absolutely. When people buy guitar picks, they normally do like to buy them in a pack, right? And if you buy a typical finger pick, for instance, those come in a pack. You normally see 4. And guitar picks can come anywhere. You buy them as a single, or they can come in a pack of, singles all the way to a pack of 12. With the shell pick, it is a longer lasting product because of the shape and the material. So 3 we see as a good number, with that $6 selling cost. We see that being a good number to have in a pack, with that $6 margin as an easy way for customers to be able to pick off the shelf. We see that really being an easy sell.
Great. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, judges. Great questions. So we'll give you a minute to tally your scores. In the meantime, I want to take a moment to thank the many volunteers whose tireless efforts have made this evening possible, including our first round judges, who are listed on the upcoming slide. These folks were tasked with reviewing dozens of applications, all videos, to pick our finalists, which is no small task. So thank you to our first round judges. And I'd also like to thank the many coaches and mentors who helped our finalists prepare for the competition, and they're listed here on this slide. These industry experts, all pitch competition veterans, worked one-on-one with the finalists to mold and shape what you're seeing tonight. Thanks, coaches and mentors. All right, judges, have you had enough time to tally up your score for Shelby? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are ready to go. Well, are we ready? All right, I got the thumbs up. So our next aspiring business finalist is Derek Lau, CEO of STEMtrick, an online aid that hosts high-quality, gamified, incentivized, and community-engaging mathematics learning resources on social media platforms. Derek, the floor is yours.
Booker T. Washington Middle School, September 2019, Baltimore City. I watched my 8th grade algebra students take the iReady exam. Out of the 70+ students in my classes, not a single student was on grade level, and most were performing at a 4th grade. Over the last 10 years educating others, I've witnessed the inequity that exists within our educational systems. According to a study in Baltimore City, only about 17% of high school students are proficient in math. This is not an isolated problem. As a country, the US ranks 37th out of 79. The average SAT math score is a 528, while 530 is considered to be college ready. Minority students are disproportionately affected, as only 29% of Hispanic students and 20% of Black students meet that threshold. With the lack of sufficient governmental after-school funding, students study for the SAT with 3 main ways: cheap resources, private tutoring, and structured courses created by math tutoring companies. Unfortunately, all of these are lacking in multiple ways, whether that be personalization and accountability, quality of resources, or affordability. Our model combines these 3 attributes. We supply our students with high-quality resources, passionate tutors, and student-led group tutoring sessions at an affordable and accessible price to all families. Starting with our SAT Math Level 1 and 2 courses, each are offered at $120 per student. That's $10 per hour. There will be 12 one-hour sessions, group sizes of 8 to 10, and 20+ quality trick sheets per course. We will also have a revenue stream of access to our learning resources for just $10 a month. Our total addressable market averages at $576 million. This is based on the number of students who take the SAT and the number of students who graduate each year. You can also see a customer acquisition cost of just $5. We plan to market to parents through targeted ads on Facebook, but use YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, and TikTok to reach the students. We will also be forming partnerships with other organizations and also be creating a scholarship fund for underserved students. We have already pilot tested our course back in February. We plan to beta test at half price in June. We will fully launch for full price in September, and by January, we will have our subscription model going. The data and reception we receive from our pilot testing is promising, so if you were to award us the $20,000 today, we are confident in our ability to meet these milestones. We would also benefit from connections with anyone able to tutor for us or anyone able to mentor us in business, finance, or law. We would then be able to turn a profit by the end of year 1 and be ready for exponential growth in year 2. Along with me, I have a team of developers, content creators, and graphic designers. My team has expertise in organizational psychology and human behavior, skills in software development, over 15 years of tutoring, and even a 1600 score on the SAT. At STEMtrick Benefit LLC, we believe that math is a universal language that is critical to the future of the STEM field. Thanks for listening, and I implore you to help me support the next generation of Baltimore overcome the adversity they face with math. Thank you.
Great job, Derek. All right, now it's time to bring the judges back in. Judges, are you ready for your questions? Why don't we go with you, Laura? You go first.
I was already starting to score. What an interesting idea. I mean, I love it. Have you thought about how you're going to position this against Princeton Review and Kaplan? I know they're much more expensive, and I have to tell you, I'm in your sweet spot right now because my son is studying for the SAT. And also, I was surprised that the average score is 530.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. So I definitely think that currently Princeton Review charges way too much. On average, those higher level ones are about $233 per hour for the cheapest. And ours is priced at $10 an hour. So the important thing here is that we don't plan on matching the same level of guarantee of score, but we are looking to give a more accessible option for those lower and middle income families who can't afford to pay that $233 per hour price.
So you think it's 233 if you get a tutor? Is it 233 if they go through the program self-directed?
Self-directed is a cheaper price. I don't have that number on me right away, but ours has a live tutor in front of you. Even though it is a group session, there still is a tutor who's knowledgeable and passionate, who's able to help you along.
Thank you.
So Derek and me, you got, I'm an engineer by training, and I have been dealing with this notion of STEM education for more than 20 plus years. And I've seen all kinds of attempts. So you said something, I think, in your presentation. So you have somebody who's passionate, very passionate about this and personally invested in this. You said something about you've had some early successes, I'm curious as to what you meant by that in terms of in your beta testing, what kind of success have you seen?
Yeah, so in our beta testing, we do plan on beta testing in June at half price. However, we did launch a free course in February with 2 groups, 2 tutors, and about 12 students. And we say that we got promising results because most of the students who did come out at the end of it, who stayed with us, said that they did learn a decent amount, and we also had them take a post-assessment, which helped show that there was some improvement on those subjects that we taught.
So, but there's none of them have actually gone through and taken some type of standardized test to see. So you don't have any longitudinal data yet on your successes, correct?
Yes, I would say that we don't have any data that's based on the SAT before they took our course and after, which is something that I do want to have in our beta tests as well.
In that test that you did, I think it's really great that you did that initial pilot and test that minimum viable product, as it were, as an entrepreneur. Did you get any data on your business model out of that pilot test in terms of willingness to pay or kind of those costs?
Yeah, so for willingness to pay, we did ask the students, like, is this a course that you would be willing to pay for, and at what price range are we looking at? And we found that an overwhelming majority of them said that this was worth paying for, that a price of $10 per hour is definitely cheap enough for them to take. Almost everyone said that they would pay $10 for such a detailed course.
Great. And so you did mention that your total market size was based on all students who were taking the SAT. I wonder in regards to what sort of, whether socioeconomic class, or can you give us any more specificity on that target customer?
Yeah, so when we break it down to just Maryland, we do get slightly different numbers. And then you can also base it off of the parent education level. And I believe our numbers came down to 70,000 around for just Maryland parents who don't have a bachelor's degree.
I have a quick question. I love that you're making an impact on, students, who are not achieving in math. I have been I wonder if you are tracking trends with regard to SAT, because I've been reading that universities are not, using SAT as admissions anymore. And so this is solely focused on SAT. So in terms of your vision for the future, are you tracking that? And how do you plan on addressing that?
So actually our whole model that we were going to go after in the future is going to be a solo based Uber style of model where you can ask for a tutor immediately and they would match you with a tutor through algorithms and computers that I don't need to get into. And then you would have that one-on-one conversation with your tutor. Currently, we're starting with the SAT just because we have decided that SAT is a structured course and that we can actually tackle it. So it's just our first course of action. We don't plan on staying in the SAT forever because we are noticing that it is going away. Schools are not requiring it as much. So the goal is to move to high school math and then to all math in general. We want to be a math hub.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, judges. Derek, great answers. So while the judges take a moment to tally their scores, I want to talk a little bit more about the role that the CEI plays on campus. We serve as a bridge from the classroom to help students gain real-world practical experience to advance their careers. It's applied learning, if you will. But most importantly, you don't need to be a business major. You just need to have an idea for an enterprise and the passion and drive to turn your dream into a reality. And I invite you to come by for a visit anytime, once we are able to safely return to campus, that is, or visit us online in the meantime. All right, so judges, are you finished tallying? Give me a thumbs up if you're done. Great. Just another second or two, it looks like. Carolyn, you good? All right. So our third aspiring business finalist is Nikia Madison, who is CEO of Safe Pl8te Allergy-Free Grocery, which helps people living with food allergies purchase allergy-friendly products, and it serves as a resource to the community to help with understanding and managing food allergies. Nikia, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Nikia Madison, and I'm the founder of Safe Pl8te Allergy-Free. I'm a current UB student, and I have over 10 years of retail management experience. But more importantly, I am the mom of a child who suffers from a fatal peanut allergy. He also has he's also sensitive to every other food on the top 8 allergen list. So aside from peanuts, you have tree nuts, dairy, wheat, eggs, soy, fish, and then shellfish. So needless to say, it's been extremely difficult managing his diet. The challenges I've faced over the past couple of years are actually the reason why I started Safe Pl8te. Right off the bat, initially we left the doctor's office with no information. So I immediately discovered there was a lack of information, given on the part of the doctors. There was just a diagnosis and a prescription. There is an overall lack of access to quality, tasty treats and foods that are free from the top 8 allergens. I find myself spending a lot of time in the grocery store, often multiple stores, reading labels, and it's very time consuming and stressful. The third and probably the most biggest thing for me has been the issue of trust. I have a big problem with trusting others to take care of my child, because his allergy is potentially fatal. It's a pretty nerve-wracking thing. So, over the course of the past couple of years, we've had several incidents where he's had minor reactions to some of the foods that he's sensitive to when he's with family or friends. But the biggest thing is that he had a potentially life-threatening reaction at a daycare center. And it was all due to the fact that there was a lack of overall understanding when it came to food allergy safety. They didn't understand how to read the labels. And these are things that Safe Pl8te aims to address. We want to eliminate the worry of exposure to potentially dangerous food allergens. Safe Pl8te is going to function as a subscription box service. So therefore, you'll have the convenience, you'll have this customer-centric orientation that we are going to manifest. We are going to create an online community, basically where people can come, engage with one another, engage with us. We can give them advice, food ideas, useful information to help them manage living with and taking care of someone who suffers from a food allergy. Our revenue model here, so we have an average profit of $11.06 that I took and I multiplied that by 8 months, which is the average amount of time that someone maintains a subscription. And I come up with this 88.48, which represents the lifetime value of our customer. Then, as far as the addressable market, we're able to reach 20,000 customers. You can see we will make 1.8 million, 40,000 customers, 3.5 million. Reference to our competitors. Everyone is trying to do the same thing, right? All of these different subscription services are trying to provide more access to allergen safe foods. And but what they're lacking is what we have as a secret sauce. Basically, we're going to create a customizable or personalized, customized experience for our customers. They'll be able to choose by brand or shop by allergen. We're going to come up with, well, we actually are in the process of developing a loyalty program that in the long run is going to give back to the community. And again, you have that education that we're going to be providing. And we want to hit social media marketing hard. We want to have an engaging website that hopefully leads to sales in the end. And we want to target childcare providers, newly diagnosed adults, and like I said, caregivers. Right now, it's just me. I do have a team of consultants to help with content creation. They're both University of Maryland students, actually, Darian Jones and Amber Thomas. And here you see for the first 3 years, we're in the green. And this is mostly because my overhead is very low. And, these are actually projections, but as far as the numbers look, we're definitely in the green. And what I plan on using the 18,625 for is for the first year of operating costs. I would like to thank you all for listening. Again, my name is Nikia Madison, and we are Safe Pl8te.
Great job, Nakia. All right, now the judges, it's your turn to ask some questions. Why don't we start with you, Troy? You get the first question for Nakia.
Troy, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
All right.
I was just saying, just like the previous presenter, I have a personal stake in this. My daughter has a peanut allergy, and so I'm very cognizant of the challenges that you presented. I wasn't clear because I read your proposals. Thank you for being able to see that. If what you're focused on is these boxes you want to put together, or the online content piece and creating that online community, are you trying to do both? I was trying to understand the two and what you were doing with those two.
Thank you so much for that question. And honestly, for me, the online community and the spreading of resources and information is the most important to me because of my personal relationship with this issue. But at the same time, understanding that I need to make money, right? That's part of the reason why we do this. Coming up with something that I could, that people are willing to pay for is how the subscription box service comes into play. So what I intend to do is use content creation and providing resources as sort of a grabber to get people there and then keep them there and make money by providing access to allergen-free, safe products and snacks and foods. So it's both.
And what do you think is your differentiate? What makes this different than from some of the other things? I'm still not clear. What's the differentiator for you?
For me, the biggest difference I noticed between us and the competitors is that aspect of the resources and offering of information, and just making more of an effort to try to really engage with the community. Because we want to know, what does this community need in the future? Whether it be advocacy, more online education programs and things of that nature.
Thank you.
That you have the box in your background, I think in your photo. Is that your specific box of what you're selling?
Yes, thank you. So this is one of my boxes. It actually came in a little too small. They sent me the wrong product box. So this is a little bit smaller than the one that I plan on using, but it just has a variety of allergen-free little snacks, and then it has a Safe Pl8te name at the top here and on the side. And I also have some little icons that I plan on, putting all over the box to make it look a little bit more prettier.
And are you going to be having all of your own I saw some of those are kind of more other brands as well, or if you are planning of your own brands as well, or use other brands that exist?
Right now, we are just going to focus on sourcing other brands, but in the future, definitely product development is in the on the forefront.
Great.
Thank you. I in your pitch, I could feel your pain in this and the problem, of parents with kids like this, and the trust that you have to have, in caring for them. What I wanted to know is why you chose a subscription model versus others, because you care about the online community. Your differentiator is to share information and resources, and you want to have a very personalized approach to meeting their needs. And so I wondered if you couldn't do that personalization online with the products themselves, or other ways of doing that. Why did you specifically choose the subscription model?
Thank you so much for that question. Great question, by the way. Honestly, this was something that I recently moved over to given the pandemic, and then following the advice of a lot of great mentors that I've had the pleasure of working with. Initially, it started out as a brick and mortar. We were going to be live in person so that we can provide this more intimate experience that I was really looking for. And after doing quite a bit of research, I found that this subscription business model service is really taking off. So instead of doing a situation where we could have people just ordering products online individually, I felt as though the subscription model might be able to meet people's needs, specifically with convenience, and trying to just alleviate a little bit of stress for caregivers.
Great, thanks for the answer.
Great.
Oh.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great questions. Great questions, judges. We've run out of time. Thank you, Nikia. So while the judges are tallying, I'll take a moment to talk a little bit about what our halftime show is all about. After the pitches are complete and the judges are busy deliberating over tonight's winners, we have a unique UBalt experience in store for you, a triple alumni entrepreneur extravaganza. We have former E-Fellows Matthew Jung, who's co-founder of Dead Veggies, Emily Kim, founder and CEO of Overrice, Zeddy Taste, and Uma Uma, and Miji Kim, CEO of Miscofits and MV Studios. They will all join in a Q&A session with Dean Dial, and I highly encourage you to stick around for it. All right, judges, are you ready? Are you finished? Give me a thumbs up if you finished tallying for Nikia. Good, a little bit more time. All right, great, thank you. So our fourth aspiring business presenter this evening is Robert Myers, inventor and CEO of Switchboard Pedal Management System, a new organizational system that revolutionizes and simplifies how pedal boards are built for use by guitar players and other musicians in live and in studio settings. Robert, tell us all about it.
The bane of every musician is the time spent not playing music. Majority of every gig is actually the load in and the load out, while the stage time is the most valuable. The prepping and maintenance of your equipment is so important that you want to make sure that you are reducing that, especially during studio hours. I'm Rob Myers, and I'm here to introduce to you the Switchboard Pedal Management System. What we do is reduce the amount of time taken to replace your pedals, and also reduce the amount of money in replacing the effects as they break from misuse. Now, if you're wondering what an effects pedal does, it makes guitars interesting. For Rage Against the Machine, it gives you the wow, wow, chicka, wow, wow when Bulls on Parade. It gives Muse its madness. And then Pink Floyd, the spacey, swishy sounds as they build up and break down walls. Now, historically, pedal boards have been a messy process. There are a lot of cabling, there's a lot of power, everything needs to be in place, and it's really hard to fix them to planks and boards. Oftentimes, many people will go and pay someone in order to have a nice, clean system, but then as soon as that's done and they get a new pedal, they have to redo the whole thing. It's a lot of work and it costs a lot of money to pay people to do these things. I'd like to change that. The new way is with sockets. Instead of having all the electronics on the cabling, we're bringing this to the pedal so you can actually replace pedals as quick as that. Or if you change the order, you can just switch the pedals out. It makes it really easy. It reduces the amount of wear and tear on the jacks, which are hard to replace. And each pedal base makes sure that the required power is to the pedal, no matter the voltage. Comparing that to the old way, in the time that it took me to replace the pedal, as well as switch pedals, I can barely get one pedal replaced. As you can see, I'm unplugging, replugging in jacks. We have the power that needs to be put in. And then while I'm trying to get the pedal working, I've lost the guitar cable, which fell down. So now I have to go find that. On the other way, none of that is a problem. And then I try to fix it with Velcro, and it's maybe on the right, maybe it looks okay. It's really hard to do. It's not a lot of fun. What I'm trying to do is get musicians back to playing. In seconds, they can do what used to take a couple minutes per pedal. If you're doing a full pedal board, it's 3 to 4 hours, where now you can do it in 3 to 4 minutes. Now, as far as when we sell these, pedal boards typically cost $400 to $600 already. I think I can still hit that mark using scalable technology. While they may buy a pedal board for $400 with the initial set, additional pedal bases for each additional pedal will be $25 and then more if it's required to change the voltage for the pedal. This will increase and decrease the value of the pedal bases, but it's very important because each pedal is actually averaging about $80 per pedal, but a lot of these go $300 to $500 each. $25 is a very small investment, considering the same thing happens when you buy a new guitar, that you buy guitar straps and strap locks to keep your guitar safe. The less wear and tear on these expensive pedals, the longer they're going to last. Now, as far as the total addressable market goes, in the United States alone, we're looking at 12 million to 16 million people. If we're looking at a low of a pedal base and a bunch of pedals, that's $400, but a high of $650 if they buy a bunch of pedal bases for their additional pedals. This comes out to a total addressable market of $4.8 to $10.4 billion. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to answering all your questions. If you're interested in becoming a beta tester, please reach out and we'll get you added to the list. Have a great day.
Great job, Robert. We ought to get you and Shelby together, I think, when this is all said and done. All right, judges, it's time for you all to ask some questions. Why don't we start with you, Carolyn? Do you have a question for Robert?
Sorry, Carolyn, you're on mute.
Yep. Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Great presentation. I love the fact that you ended with an ask for the audience that's here in your business. My question here is for the business model. I think you walked us through kind of pricing and those different things, but my question is on what would be your expected sales within, say, the first year after you launch, and how would you get those sales?
Yeah, so what I was looking at, if you look at that total available, when I was looking at that, I showed the 5%, so the 32 to 48 million should be possible. With regular channel partners coming in, such as Guitar Center and Sweetwater.
Just so I understand that, you're saying for out of the total addressable market, you would get 5% of the total market within the first year of sales within that $1 million that you noted raising. Am I understanding correctly?
Sorry, as far as it goes, I would say we could definitely break a profit within the first year. I definitely would get any investment back. I would believe between $1 and $5 million would be possible due to the cost of the items. That would be gross. We're still working on the total cost to get us to our net profit. but I definitely believe we can at least break $1 million within the first year.
Okay.
Do you have any intellectual property in this plate?
That's the expectation. So these initial funds are going towards patents to make sure that this is secured.
Okay.
Robert, lots of questions. I mean, I love your enthusiasm. Great presentation. A more question, the product, is there any change? Have you done anything with the sound? Does the sound quality come out the same using your device versus the traditional, the legacy device?
And that's a great question. That's actually one of the reasons my product is still a new product on the market. There's been hesitation for years and years on any digital changes to the analog world that has been guitar players for many, many years. It's only been in the last 15 years that people have really started to embrace digital systems. As far as this goes, it's still a 100% analog circuit. So you should have, and I've tested that it is the exact same integrity that it would be if it was straight wire. That's the expectation with the sockets, is you're using the PCB to change the wire just like you would with any recording equipment piece.
And one other question, if I may, in your documentation you sent that got sent to us, you mentioned here, it says licensing of the system can be offered to other pedal board makers. Tell me what you were thinking about with that.
Much like anything that was successful, if you think of Tesla, they have given away their patents in a way that they are requiring that then their technology is also available. So in my idea, they're pushing forward the market by allowing other people to create the system. So instead of me having to create all the pedal bases for every single type of pedal, the people who make the pedals can then make their own bases and sell the bases themselves. I get a piece of the money, and then my profit becomes ubiquitous to the modern guitar player. It would also go with the pedal boards themselves, in that they could still sell their, I guess in this case, ancient product compared to what I'm doing, but would allow for a way to bridge the gap between their old model and the new model of pedal board.
Got it. Thank you, Robert. Good job.
Sure thing. Great question.
I thought that was, Mayor?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I thought that was a really interesting presentation and certainly a creative idea. And I love the questions from each of the judges. I guess I'd like to hear a little bit more about the business model. I think it's really important to understand how you're going to get this out into the market and, change a mindset that is, really existed for decades.
So that's a great question. There are many DIY builders, and the community within it is large enough that new ideas are now being welcomed at a great pace. As far as this goes for selling it, the majority of all gear is sold through channel partners. Channel partners include Guitar Center, Musicians Friend, and Sweetwater, and also smaller shops. Now within that group, they have now started welcoming smaller companies, because the smaller companies that build recording gear and other things have started to grow their share of the market. So these channel partners now want us to also be part of their sales model. In that sense, I will then be able to sell more and more bulk sales, and from there I'll get my profit, they get theirs, and we continue from there. Now, as far as who would buy these, it comes down to that we are looking at not only the recording studios where they want to keep the signal integrity great, they want as least the fewer number of pedals as possible, but they also want to make sure that they're keeping their pedals in top shape. Recording gear is very important. Any gigging musician, when we're looking at that, a gigging musician may be in a jazz band on Thursday, but then maybe in a wedding band on Saturday. So instead of bringing a 40 pedal board wherever they go, they can bring a 12 pedal or a 6 pedal board with only the pedals they need, reducing the wear and tear. So I think with that, we can sell all the bases to all the pedals. We can sell the different markets, and these people that are already buying 2 to 3 pedal boards can now just buy one and get everything done.
Great job. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Great questions, judges. All right, so we'll give the judges a second to tally their scores. In the meantime, I'm going to remind you to vote. So make your voice heard by voting for your favorite contestant using our Slido app. Log into slido.com and enter the event code, which will be shown on the screen here, and click on polls. Remember, the crowd favorite wins $1,000. So do your part to help these folks earn some money. That's slido.com, 326-739. Great. And don't forget, you can share we want you to type your comments below and share and like on this page and share it with your friends on social media. I fumble with all of those social media terms. Like it, share it, whatever you do, spread the word and get as many people to join in tonight as they can. All right, judges, are you finished tallying for Robert? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Looking good. Laura, you good? All right. Our final aspiring business presenter this evening is Elizabeth Ogan, founder of Scribe. That's an online platform with a mission to make professional writing accessible to everyone through the use of artificial intelligence, customizable templates, and an intelligent editor. Elizabeth, take it away.
What if I told you that anyone can be a professional writer? From the average Joe to a college student, or even an entrepreneur, anyone can write. I'm Elizabeth Ogan, founder of Scribe. Scribe is an online platform with a mission to make professional writing accessible to writers at various mastery levels. Through the use of artificial intelligence, easy customizable templates, and an intelligent editor, even the average Joe can produce professional quality writing. As a tutor, editor, and website copywriter for over 4 years, I noticed that what my clients needed was a little bit of structure and some guidance to be able to produce excellent quality writing. I did my research and I found that less than half of the United States population is proficient in writing. According to a study done by the National Center for Education Statistics, only 34% of adults and 37% of students are proficient in writing. I realized that if only there were a platform that featured writing templates as well as suggestions, many would no longer struggle with writing. And that's how Scribe was born. Scribe offers its users access to thousands of writing templates programmed by speech recognition. The software asks users a series of questions and guides them from the beginning to the end of the writing process. Our revenue model can be broken down into 3 tiers of subscription. The first is a subscription of $19.99 a month for enterprises as well as large corporations. The second is a monthly subscription of $9.99 a month for individuals. And the final is a freemium plan where we offer basic aspects of our service free of charge. However, for freemium users to access the more advanced products on our platform, there is a service charge of $5 per use. With a growing demand in technology-based learning, if we capture only 10% of our service obtainable market, by our first year of launch, we can expect to be cash flow positive. With an investment of $20,000 today, we would be able to fund our product development, customer acquisition initiatives, as well as various other costs associated with launching. Our customer acquisition strategy is to begin by targeting small businesses, sole proprietors, as well as partnering with university systems. We intend to do so through the use of advertisements on Google AdSense, social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. We also intend to partner with enterprises, universities, and high schools. Scribe has a competitive advantage over Grammarly and Chegg because it guides users from the beginning to the end of the writing process. It also auto-generates suggestions relevant to the template. Scribe, as opposed to Grammarly and Chegg, would be a more effective tool in teaching the users the writing format and process for various contexts. We also commit 10% of our revenue to foundations and nonprofit organizations serving the Baltimore community. As a daughter to a single mother of 4, I experienced homelessness firsthand, and the Helping Up Mission Baltimore was a foundation that played a major role in getting my mother back on her 2 feet. I intend to ensure foundations like this are well funded. Our growing team of 4 exceptional individuals consists of Favor, our president and a current University of Baltimore graduate, Ariel Lua, our chief marketing officer, and a Towson MBA graduate. And finally, Simon, our software engineer and graphic designer. With this team of 4, we plan to revolutionize the writing industry. We would like to extend our gratitude for your time and this amazing opportunity to present on this platform. We would love to partner with you in any form. Our contact information is below, and you can follow us on Instagram at scribe.usa. Thank you so much, and we would love to open the floor to any questions.
Great job, Elizabeth. Well done. All right,
Yes.
judges,
Thank you.
it's ready for you. Lily, why don't you start?
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. Before I got into business, I was a journalist. So this is close to my heart, this topic. And I love your idea about templates to do this. I have investigated all kinds of writing and editing software, including Grammarly. And, there are several of them online, like ProWriting. Ginger is a relatively new startup in Israel. Several of them use artificial intelligence and natural language processing to edit, translate, make suggestions, etc. But they are focused on a particular niche, and you are making this broad for all writers. Have you considered that maybe it needs to be, perhaps you mentioned universities, which is a different kind of writing. It's not like fiction or nonfiction. So is it more for, writing that you would do in a writing class, like in a high school or university, as versus more creative types of writing?
Thank you very much for that question. We will feature some of our templates specific to universities. However, we're trying to make it as broad as possible. For example, for a startup that may need to write for a recruitment, or for a website that needs copywriting, we will be able to generate thousands of templates. So there will be a template where college students can research. But that's the beauty of us asking questions. We ask the writer, what project exactly are you writing for? And based on their responses, we can generate a specific template that helps them best.
Okay. Is there any is this going to be a plugin? And will it integrate with other kinds of tools like Microsoft Office, Google Docs, anything like that? Because a lot of them are plugins where it would give you suggestions, etc. What kind of technology is it? Or what are you going to be doing?
Thank you. We will have our own website and our own software, but we also intend to feature a Google or a Chrome extension where, on various platforms. Yes.
Okay, so extensions. All right, on all of the different, not just Chrome, not any other browser.
We, as time goes by and as our research develops, we'd be able to find more suitable platforms, but we're beginning with our own website and our own platform where we would be able to help customers.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lily, do you mind if
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Can I jump in? Quick question. First of all, let me say, first, let me back up a whole nother step from there. Amazing presentation, and you are extraordinary. So I grew up in East Baltimore, not far from where Helping Up Mission is, and I am so impressed by you. I mean, honestly, you are amazing. So I just want to say that. But my question for you is this: I just finished writing a manuscript, and I have to tell you, I rewrote it 50 times at least. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Hands down, professionally, the hardest thing I've ever done. How do you get someone's voice? How do you capture their voice? Because I've seen a million templates, but a story is very personal. So how do you manage the art of it rather than the science?
Thank you very much for that question. So as time progresses, the machine begins to learn your style of writing and the suggestions, and it's basically taking the pain out of writing in general. So for over time, it learns your style of writing and begins to make suggestions based on your pattern. Obviously, not all of this. I mean, in some cases, not all of the suggestions you have the option to opt out of some of the suggestions. However, it begins to learn your pattern of writing and tries to make more suitable suggestions to your style.
But what if your pattern hasn't evolved enough yet?
Thank you for that. And it's more on the science of writing, because, for example, for a college student, you may be taking several different classes. You may be taking a psychology class, an English class, and you don't know how to write a literary review. You don't know the format for several different platforms. So we're trying to take the pain out of, going to search on different websites and relearn the processes.
Great.
So,
Great response. I've got to cut her off. We got to stay on track here, folks. Sorry about that. Well
but I was
done,
going
Elizabeth.
to say, Elizabeth, I agree with you. Every person can write, and good job. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, judges, take a few minutes to tally your scores. And in the meantime, I'm going to reveal the secret award that I alluded to earlier. And I'd like to invite Jason Tagler, founder of Pitch Creator, to come out and say a few words and deliver the first prize of the evening, the Pitch Creator Hustle Award. Jason?
Thank you, Henry, and good evening. I'm Jason Tagler, volunteer director and founder of Pitch Creator. I'm a partner at Camden Partners, which is a growth equity firm in Baltimore. And Pitch Creator is my volunteer social impact project. I founded it in 2014 to create jobs in the Baltimore area by teaching entrepreneurs how to communicate with investors and raise capital for their businesses. First, a big thank you to the sponsors of this event. At Pitch Creator, we believe these annual investor pitch events provide a catalyst for student entrepreneurs to try, fail, learn, and repeat. And we believe having the opportunity to do that while in school is incredibly valuable, and it gives students a better chance for long-term success in entrepreneurship. Second, a thank you to the University of Baltimore for making this virtual pitch event happen. Murray Denzel, Dean of Merrick School of Business, Henry Mortimer, Director, Center of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and many other people who put in countless hours into this event. On behalf of Pitch Creator team, thank you, and we're honored to be an education partner again this year. This spring, we were thrilled to help prepare the finalists for this competition. We did that by providing each student CEO with access to our online foundation course for college students. This online course is designed as a hybrid learning model, and the students will stop at certain points and get feedback from the mentor coach on drafts they've created. It allows the student entrepreneurs, again, to try, fail, learn, and repeat multiple times while they're in the course and with their mentor coach and before they get in front of judges, and this improves learning outcomes and it also builds confidence. This hybrid learning model also has another benefit, which is the mentor coach can score the student CEOs as they progress based on 8 core learning objectives. And this isn't a grade, but it's just a relative improvement score, and it allows the coach to focus on areas where each student CEO needs the most improvement. And we can aggregate individual scores, create an average improvement score across all the CEOs. The finalists this year received mentoring and coaching in 2 ways. First, through the UB Entrepreneurship Center, and a thank you to all the volunteer mentors and coaches. And second, Pitch Creator provided one-on-one coaching for all the finalists as well. I want to take a moment to thank our 2 Pitch Creator coaches this year, Ron Stubblefield and Brenda Diltz. They both worked one-on-one with the finalists as they progressed through our online college foundation course over, 6 to 8 weeks, but it was spread out a little bit longer this year. At Pitch Creator, we believe grit, persistence, and hustle correlate to long-term entrepreneurial success. We want to encourage that hustle and to recognize the student entrepreneur who made the most improvement while using our college foundation course while working with their coaches. And we're thrilled to sponsor the Pitch Creator Hustle Award again this year. Pre-COVID, it was in the form of $500 in cash in a mason jar. For this virtual event, the winner will receive it in the form of $500 via PayPal. And this award can be used for their business, but we actually hope it goes to celebrate with team members and hydrate the hustle while looking back on all the improvements made during the process of preparing for this business pitch competition. Without further ado, this semester's winner of the Pitch Creator Hustle Award is Drum roll, please. Rebecca Thompson. Rebecca made the most improvement and learning objectives in our course, but in addition, was really engaged throughout the process, including during her business pivot, market validation, and her MVP launch work. She will receive $500 in PayPal from Pitch Creator. Again, we're honored to sponsor this award and be part of this wonderful event. Thank you again. Back to you, Henry.
Thanks, Jason, and congratulations, Rebecca. All right, that should get you excited. Is everyone ready to move on to our second set of finalists? You know, I can almost hear your heads nodding out there in live stream land. I know. I wish we could do more than that. I really would love to hear your applause right now. All right, so let's switch gears and move on to our next set of category, I should say, existing business finalists. First up, we have Kellie Brown, who is an alum, which graduated in 2018 and is working on an MBA, and is also founder and CEO of SpreadKarma, an ecosystem for social entrepreneurs and others seeking fundraising education, access to funding, and exposure for projects that create a positive impact in underserved communities. Kellie, take it away.
At the age of 14, I joined a youth program called Freedom Schools, where I gained valuable skills like team building, leadership, public speaking, and workforce development. This program changed my trajectory as a young person growing up in Philly. Unfortunately, Freedom Schools was forced to close due to the lack of funding. Hundreds of young people just like me were affected by this inequitable experience. I later learned thousands of programs in underserved communities like mine were also impacted by the lack of funding, lack of exposure, and lack of community. Hi, I'm Kellie Brown, CEO and founder of SpreadKarma's social impact fundraising platform. I worked in nonprofit management for 10 years and spent the last 5 years giving back around the world and right here to impactful programs in Baltimore. Through all of my experiences, I realized one thing. Fundraising is a daunting task. It's hard, but it must be done. Can you think of a social entrepreneur who needs funding right now? See, most fundraising platforms are merely tools. They don't provide marketing support, fundraising education, financial management, or even help create a community of donors. And did you know that less than 2% of funding from foundations actually go into the hands of minority-led organizations? This forces many social entrepreneurs to end impactful programs, just like Freedom Schools, or even worse, never get their ideas off the ground. Our competitors are GoFundMe, Donors Choose, and Fundly, but they lack trust, capacity building, and support. This is where SpreadKarma comes in. We're more than just a crowdfunding platform. SpreadKarma builds trust by vetting each campaign. We offer live coaching, recurring donation software, a rewards feature incentivizing donors, which is beneficial for small businesses to leverage products to raise capital. And our ecosystem strictly focuses on social impact fundraising. SpreadKarma's mission is to empower positive social impact through crowdfunding. Since launching in October 2019, we've had over $80,000 raised through the platform, had 8 fully funded campaigns, and gained a community of a little under 1,900 donors. 12% of them are repeat givers. We've also offered over 40 hours of live fundraising coaching to changemakers. We've secured some large partnerships within the Baltimore area, including Baltimore Homecoming, the Warnock Foundation, Move Maryland, and the National Nonprofit Minority Association, and a data partnership with Giving Tuesday. SpreadKarma provides donation and rewards-based crowdfunding software, fundraising education, increased exposure, and an ecosystem for economic empowerment. SpreadKarma has 5 revenue streams: the 4.5% platform fee, coaching services, digital products and workshops developed from our proven curriculum backed by Associate Professor of Social Innovation at UMB, and purpose-driven merch. The crowdfunding industry is projected to grow to $400 billion by 2025. We're targeting millennials, nonprofits, young professionals, and social entrepreneurs. We will earn $500,000 in revenue in 3 years, focusing on the 4 major cities in the Mid-Atlantic region and starting right here in Baltimore first as the Baltimore crowdfunding platform. In addition to forming key partnerships, our go-to-market strategy for campaigners focuses on word-of-mouth referrals, influencer marketing, live events, and capacity-building cohorts like the Pitch for Good Accelerator. And when we think of donors, we will gamify social giving, host live events, and have donor matching competitions, and focus on employee giving. To get SpreadKarma off the ground, I brought together a dynamic team. Sherman is our co-founder and COO. Adrian is our CFO with over 2 decades of experience in accounting. Lamar is our New York-based attorney and chief compliance officer. Love is the director of culture and communications. And Aaron is our head of tech and products. Between my team and I, we have over 75 years of experience in business development, marketing and communications, nonprofit fundraising, and tech development. We are looking for grants and investors to help make social impact easier. This seed round of $460,000 will help us launch our sales and marketing strategy, hire crowdfunding coaches, complete the development of the e-courses, and enhance our fundraising software for the next 2 years. The money we receive tonight will go directly towards hiring 1 fundraising coach and launching our sales and marketing strategy. So become a comrade today by starting a campaign, by donating to a campaign, or investing to democratize funding for social change. On behalf of the SpreadKarma team, thank you all for listening.
Wow, great job, Kellie. All right, judges, now it's your turn. Why don't we turn to Laura? You can ask the first question.
Well, Kellie already knows that I love her. Nice to see you again. That was a great presentation. And actually, it's come a long little ways, so I'm pretty impressed. I am going to challenge you once again, though, and say, look, if you go on GoFundMe and you contribute $100, $97.80 goes to the organization or the cause. And on SpreadKarma, that $100 becomes $95.50. So how are you going to overcome that objection?
That's exactly right. And it is good to see you again. Thank you. So we are offering one of the lowest platform fees in the fundraising industry. And so the way we are going to overcome that is by letting people know, although we are just starting off, we need to charge in order to maintain our staff and our platform development. But that money and those funds that we charge goes directly back into our communities. We are 100% dedicated to giving back to our communities where we come from in this process. So we are giving away grants at certain times of the year and making sure that we are supporting people, minorities who need help fundraising. So we say to that, if there's an issue with a few cents less than earning because it's going right back into your community, then we hope that you will reconsider using SpreadKarma to just know that your funds are going right back into underserved and marginalized populations.
Just clarify that briefly in terms of, you noted that, so out of your fee, that some of that's going back into the community. So is it that the fee that you're taking is actually, some of that is going to the organization and then some of it is almost like a donation of which you're taking ownership of in terms of directing where that fund goes? Or is that a fee going into the company's pocket?
Thank you for clarifying. The 4.5% platform fee, that is the lowest across our industry, is going directly into contributing to the development of the company. But we host every year something called Spread Good Karma Day, where proceeds from our company go directly into impacting our city and our surrounding neighborhoods. Spread Good Karma Day is August 1st of every year. We founded it as a team, and it's to kick off Black Philanthropy Month. And so last year we've given out 100 meals to the community in Sandtown. And so you should know that when you do support and either donate or start a campaign on SpreadKarma, the funds will go into the continuing development, increasing our staff. And once a year, we do a socially impactful project where we rally over 20 volunteers last year and more, and hopefully continue to grow that project through our proceeds, which we will look at the end of every year. So to answer your question, hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. And great job. It was a wonderful presentation and a great company.
Kelly, it's good seeing you again. Like Laura, I am, I'm a fan. And it's good to also see the progression in your logic in the presentation. I continue, what I'm probably going to ask already, I continue to be a believer that your differentiator is going to be in this consultative piece and how to increase the efficacy of the fundraisers themselves. So talk a little bit more about how that's going to be the differentiator for SpreadKarma versus your competition.
Thank you, Troy, and thank you for your mentorship so far. What we would say is that, the inequitable part of fundraising right now is the education. So that is a huge chunk of our mission, is to educate and empower social entrepreneurs to the know-how to crowdfund, to learn how to effectively tell your story and share it with others, and then gain a community. And so that's exactly right. We are developing e-courses and workshops proven by our curriculum that we actually have an advisor from UMB, University of Maryland, Baltimore, who will be looking into our curriculum much further. But these e-courses will then be able to democratize the education to fundraising, not just give a man a meal, but teach them how to fish and they'll learn forever, they'll eat forever. That type of situation is where we are dedicated to changing this space for everyone.
I just have a quick question. I haven't met you before. Obviously, Freedom Schools made a big impact on your public speaking ability. Great job. I love the comrade, team that you coined there. One question, since you are approaching this as crowdfunding for particular group, I'm curious as to why your 460 raise isn't doing something similar for the experience, like Start Engine or something else. Just out of more curiosity as a non-traditional way that you're seeking.
Yeah, that's a great point. So friends and family and supporters who are watching, please, stay tuned for a crowdfunding round that we will be, launching very soon on our own platform. And like I said, we're at grants, investors, and family and friends fundraising round will be coming soon. We'll have a lot of fun.
What's the minimum
that you can invest?
Just
we are
curious,
going to start with crowdfunding. We are going to start the minimum at $50. So it's for lowest $50. You can help democratize fundraising for every social entrepreneur in the Mid-Atlantic region.
Great answer. Great job, judges. Thank you, Kelly. All right, we'll give them a second to tally their scores. And while they do that, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank our sponsors and partners for this evening. The Pridgeon Family Entrepreneurship Fund, Joseph Carton and Harvey Silberg Venture Fund, also Jay Ripley, the Jay Ripley Entrepreneurship Fund, the University of Maryland's Center for Advanced Ventures, ZMB Media Live Streaming and their partners of Focal Point Productions, and Pitch Creator. The funding and support that you provide are greatly appreciated and are critical not only for making events like this possible, but also for giving these students and alumni the lift they need to turn their ideas into viable ventures. So thank you all. All right, judges, are you ready? Have you tallied your score for Kelly? Give me a thumbs up when you're done. We got 1, 2, coming in hot, 3.
Yeah.
All right, Laura, great. So our second existing business finalist of the night is Nicole Mighty, CEO and head designer at Spiked Orchids, which produces and sells high-quality, environmentally friendly apparel and home goods by leveraging sustainable manufacturing practices and repurposing secondhand materials. Nicole, tell us all about it.
24 years ago, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Like most parents, we spent a lot of money on that first child. I decided to take some of my daughter's most precious clothing and turn them into something useful that I can carry with me forever as a keepsake. I hated my job at that time, so I took a pair of her jeans to hand sew into a denim clutch bag to kill some time. A coworker saw what I was doing and purchased the bag off me before I could even complete the project. I realized this was a great idea for other parents, as well as for folks who have lost loved ones and wanted to carry their memories as well. In 2019, I also realized that this was a solution to the fast fashion waste issue that is plaguing our planet. There's a significant amount of the populations that's looking for high quality, sustainable, eco-friendly clothing, but they can't find the stores that specialize in it. Recycling is making the same old products out of old materials, but upcycling is making something better out of old materials. Our customers are willing to purchase great quality items that have been repurposed and is also saving our planet. Here at Spiked Orchids, we design, produce, and sell high-quality, environmentally friendly apparel and handbags by repurposing them from secondhand materials. We also clean, update, and strengthen the quality to make each item new and fashionable. We are literally redefining the value of waste and delivering high-quality goods to our customers at affordable prices. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nicole Mighty. I am the CEO and head designer at Spiked Orchids. I have over 25 years in design and upcycling skills. I also have a dual degree in apparel technology and fashion retailing with a background in engineering. This is Darius Evans. He's my mentor and chief operations officer. He was a former co-founder for Inner City Enterprise, which is a strategic communication and entertainment holding company. He has over 25 years in event management, marketing, promotion, and operations. Our target market is focused on environmentally and socially conscious Americans who are looking for more sustainable and affordable production practices for clothing and accessories. The US Census data actually reflects that population to be 16 to 18% of Americans. These are our three competitions. One off, specialize in custom garments, but our advantage is that we actually specialize in custom garments as well as specialize in handbags and accessories. Greg Lauren, he designs great menswear, but he's lacking a strong feminine line. And Spiked Orchids, we actually specialize in women's wear. ASOS is one of those companies that's willing to collaborate with like-minded designer brands and companies, as well as showcase their private and exclusive labels on their website. Our total addressable market, according to the US Census, at the low end of 16% is $20.4 million, and at a high end of 18% would be $22.9 million for a target market with millennials in the age group of 19 to 37 of age. Our revenue model consists of 60% apparel, 25% handbags, and 10% accessories, with 5% renewable maintenance insurance. This is an actual product that we sold to a customer. The total cost was $115. The customer price was $300, giving us a profit of $185. Our total assumptions for 2021 on a low end would be $339,000, and on a high end it would be $564,000. We are asking for $20,000 on the majority of that will go towards our contractual source for $8,500 and marketing for $5,000 just to start. Our motto is anything can be beautiful again if given a new life and a purpose. These are more additional examples of our products as Spiked Orchids. Let us save the planet one closet at a time. You can contact me at NicoleMighty@spikedorchids.com and at our website, spikedorchids.com, and also on Instagram at Nicole_Mighty, as well as Spiked_Orchids. Thank you.
Great job, Nicole. Well done, well done. All right, judges, it's time for you to ask some questions. Troy, why don't we toss it to you first?
Or first of all, Nicole, outstanding presentation. You deliver well, you speak well, your cadence, that's an important thing for me. Your cadence is the right cadence, even though this is a short time frame, but you were able to get a lot in. And so I applaud you and how you do it. My question is around channels. How you did, I don't know if you talked about how you actually going to sell this and what type of marketing channels you're going to be selling this through, and how you're going to get that to the customers. And related to that is also fulfillment and distribution. I kind of want to understand how you're going to sell and how you're going to get it to people.
Great question. So I have 3 different stages on how I want to scale this business. The first one is I want to do a soft launch on my website, focusing on limited edition collections, as well as hard to find vintage wear. And also, what's also a part of that launch is a foundation, which I call Fashion for Cause. And the whole symbolism of spiked orchids is about taking old and turning into something new, regardless of the background. And one of my passion is with the cause is with sex trafficking and abuse victims. I'm hoping to get a part of that kind of community where I can train other victims to give them something to look forward to and to change their past and turn it into something more powerful for them. And I have a background in manufacturing. So I have actually taken a small group of women who didn't know much about sewing and actually mass produce bags for another company that I used to work for. So my channel is mostly going to be marketing towards social media. I had to do a pivot. I was doing this at home. And unfortunately, with COVID, I did catch it from a client. So now I need to take a safer route for my customers as myself, as well as my employees. So I'm doing this mostly online. That's why I need this money to launch my website and to start getting a crew, which I've already started to accumulate, but I need the money in order to pay them in order to actually launch and mass produce this. Some of my products is right behind me. They're made from all different kinds of materials. Either they have given a facelift, or I've taken out scrap pieces of anything and turned it into whatever I needed it to be.
Well, in terms of other gents, but being on Earth Day, this is a great presentation for Earth Day. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I was going to say, Nicole, I think you have an excellent team with your background in manufacturing and design. I have seen many upcycled type products on Etsy, etc. And I like that you are going for quality, you're strengthening the product, you're making something new. Question is your manufacturing production going to be in the US? Is it going to be local?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then also,
go ahead.
I was going to say also women were a broad category. So what does your customer look like? Who is your target customer?
You know, the research is showing that millennials are my target market, but the majority of my customers are actually in broad ranges, but they're mostly older folks. They've been with me since day one for like 15 years. So, and the sex doesn't really matter, because when I was on social media, all the men was constantly harassing me about when are you going to launch the men's line. So I keep telling them it's coming, and it has to come when I launch this. So I try to do a medium with the men. Otherwise, I'm going to get DM'd a lot about that question again. But the men are just as passionate about this as women. So it's kind of 50-50, but right now, most of my customers are women because I started with women and mothers.
So Nicole, my question is this. Look, I have to say you are a talented designer. I mean, there's no question that you have a real eye for design, and I applaud your focus on upcycling. And I do believe that sustainable clothing is the future. But my question is, this is hard to scale because each piece is unique. I mean, you really could be a clothing designer. Have you thought about that? I see this in Nordstrom. I mean, it's not a stretch.
It's not. That was my focus at first until I started doing a little bit more research and realized that my community, the fashion industry, has caused a massive problem for the planet, and a lot of us didn't know it. I found this out in 2019. So that's where I got the aha moment that I literally have the solution for, even if they have an in-house upcycling department with their own overstock, or they can bring it to Spike Orchids to have it customized. And they can put it literally back out on the floor. So this is something that you can keep a revolving door. Even if it's the same old bag, you can bring it right back to me. So how I'm doing is the scaling part is that I have 3 stages. One is what I was just talking about, was the soft launch. The second one is I wanted to do a fully integrated website where they can customize their materials, meaning they could customize like a bag or whatever it may be. And the third stage, but that would be in Christmas, around Christmas 2022. The third stage is to introduce a warranty plan. But by then I will have a assembly design technician team, is what I'm going to be calling them. During that time, I am trying to figure out how to put technology in this to break it down. I do have some engineering background. I went to Paul Laurence Dunbar in DC, and I have a lot of background and schooling from that education. So a lot of what I do have a lot of engineering in it. So I'm always tweaking, trying to figure out how to make something work. And to mass produce, I'm trying to figure out how some type of technology, and I'm going to have to collaborate with other engineers to figure out how I can do this even faster. But with the soft launch, I plan on doing a limited collection, but I'm also going to introduce vintage pieces that are harder for people to find. So it's kind of like Nasty Gals, if you're familiar with that platform. They sell upcycling garments along with the other folks that are my competition. They sell other upcycling items, but they also have vintage items to keep the money coming in.
Great answer. Well done, Nicole. Thank you, judges. Thank you for that. All right, so judges, take a moment, tally your scores. In the meantime, I want to remind you again about what's at stake tonight. And here is, again, a list of the prizes that are up for grabs. And let me offer a little explanation about 3 of them that you might be wondering about. So, supported by the University of Maryland Center for Advanced Ventures, the Baltimore Fund Award is given to the entrepreneur who best exemplifies UBalt's commitment to community and civic engagement, ethical engagement, and responsible and resourceful stewardship for the city. This year, established by Murray Dial, Dean of the Merrick School of Business, the Dean's Challenge Award is given to the competitor or competitors because the total may be split, who best demonstrate the social impact of their ventures. And finally, the Most Promising Business Award, established through the J. Ripley Entrepreneurship Fund, is given to the student whose business in either category has the best prospects for growth as determined by the judges. And speaking of which, judges, are you finished tallying your score for Nicole? Thumbs up if you're done. Great. All right, so our third and final existing business presenter this evening, and as it turns out, the first winner of a prize tonight, is Rebecca Thompson, creator of Crate Craft & Co., which turns easy-to-follow DIY projects into fun online events by shipping customers all the necessary materials and hosting live group instruction parties. All right, Rebecca, tell us the story.
Inactivity, boredom. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a staggering human impact. During the prolonged time at home, many turned to DIY as a manner of self-care. The DIY world is currently exploding, and the anticipated growth is set for $13.9 billion by the end of 2021. This just proves people want DIY projects and they want human socialization. The challenge is finding a company that can give you both. My name is Rebecca Thompson, and I'm a 4th-generation crafter dedicated to the art of DIY. My company is Crate Craft & Co. It turns fun, easy-to-follow DIY projects into online parties. First, we provide customers with kits containing everything needed for a project. Then we host live online group instructional parties, completing the project together while drinking wine and socializing. Crate Craft & Co. is a B2C business that is focused on cornering the market and creating the barrier of entry. By starting small and maintaining an upwards trajectory quickly through a vigorous go-to-market strategy that consists of an affiliate revenue model, which has been proven to be a successful proposition and it's easily scalable. Our strategy starts with building our brand. I will be enlisting the help of the UB alum, Sarah Beth Ramsey, and her firm, the Boho Marketing Company. Sarah Beth has a remarkable track record, especially in the Baltimore area. She can assist me with further customer discovery. The reason I'm doing MVPs in beta is to further validate user interest with the intent it translates what they told us into giving them what they need. That's why I'm doing both concurrently in my go-to-market strategy. Once I have received validation, then I'm going to pivot to a full-scale marketing plan to really start growing out. My hope is that by the end of the holiday season, I will be cash flow positive. I'm coming to you today, not just in the pursuit of money, but I'm hoping to gain potential mentors and adversaries that can further me to my goal. Mentors that can be impactful. I can grow organically on my own, but with adequate funding and further mentorship, I can expand this business. I can hire new employees. I can increase my inventory, and I can boost sales. So before concluding my presentation today, I wanted to take just a moment to thank these three men. They have been just awesome through this incredible journey to my first pitch competition. They have helped me with my executive summary and my PowerPoint presentation. So I just wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to Gary, Ryan, and Ron. You have been truly, I've loved working with you, and I am truly thankful for the opportunity to work with you. All right, do we have any questions?
Yes, actually.
Great job, great job.
Yes.
Go ahead, jump in.
Go ahead. Yes, great job, Rebecca. Congratulations on your win already. Obviously COVID has opened up different kinds of opportunities, and many of us have had celebrations and parties for, decade birthdays, all kinds of activity. Do you think that this will, this kind of product will continue? Should people be out and about, be tired of being online? How do you see it becoming sustainable?
So that is a great question. And actually this business model is easy to convert in person. Similar to another kind of company that you guys are probably familiar with, that do more painting. We can totally do these kind of parties, pop-up parties in different locations. And the great thing about this is that there's virtually no overhead. We just need to rent a space and provide the stuff. And then, we just need it for the night.
So what is this arts, this craft that you do, these are things that you design yourself?
Currently, yes, I design them myself, but I am working on a lot of partnerships right now. Actually, I am currently in negotiations with Bloombox. They're gonna actually design a prototype if you guys would like to see it. This is one of them. So I designed this, and then this is the microgreens that Kevin provided me and the matting. So just a lot of partnerships are going to help this business really advance. So I want to work with local artists and, build those kind of connections.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jump in.
Of great presentation. overall. So great to see kind of that, and especially with the local components and working with partnerships absolutely are key. Do you think for what's going to drive your sales moving forward, are your projections mostly based on the subscription model, or are they based on this in-person model, or is there a mixture of both of those as you look moving forward in the next 1 to 3 years?
So that's a great question. It's going to be a little bit of both, because we're going to have the subscription model right now because we don't know when we're getting completely out of COVID yet. So we're starting with the subscription model. And like I said, we're doing a lot of beta testing to kind of work out the kinks, because my plan eventually is to move into a supply chain. I'm actually a logistics specialist. I used to work for a supply chain, and I know the value of a supply chain, and I know the scalability if I was to move into a supply chain. We do online parties, as I had mentioned. So those instructional parties, we're still going to offer those online, but the pop-up parties and stuff is definitely a venture that we have on the table.
Got it. Thank you very much. Definitely that logistics background is good to know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like I've got a connection with everybody tonight. My wife is a scrapbooker, a lot of scrapbooking. And so I'm very familiar with a lot of what you're talking about here. And so my question is just really around kind of, are you thinking about trying to create affinity groups as you think about these parties? And are you going to be the one to kind of drive these affinity groups and try to create communities around these parties, or are you going to let that happen organically?
So some of it will be organic and some of them will not. So our instructional party setting that we have, because we have like a 3-tier model of what you can purchase. One's more of a private party aspect and one's a more open party. So if you pay a little bit more, you can get a private party with your friends. And also we're going to offer a little bit more if we get to ship everything together. So we'll throw in a little gift to, if we know what groups are getting together of 10, we're creating on our website a way to register that. So 10 people can be in a party and we can send it to one location, or we can send it to multiple locations. It's just dependent on the customer's needs.
Yeah, I guess where I was going with my question, I should have been more articulate, is how do you create some stickiness with it? How do you create more stickiness to you and what you're doing so you have the repeat customer?
I don't have an answer for that question just yet because I'm still in that beta testing phase. It's like I said, this is going to be a 3-step affiliate revenue model, and it's going to start with the building the brand first, and then it's going to be more the beta testing so we can really see what's going to be the best avenue to go.
Good,
great,
good luck, good.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Way to go, Rebecca. Way to go, judges. I think we've come to the end here of our presentation portion of the evening. So again, I'm going to try to hear. Let's get a big round of applause for our finalists. Thank you very much. Come on, make some noise. Disturb your neighbors. Bang on the glass a little bit. All right. Well, now we're going to excuse the judges so they can go and huddle up and tally their scores. And drum roll, please, pick the winners. And while they're doing that, we're going to treat you to a unique UBalt experience that I mentioned before. Our halftime show, as we call it, is a triple alumni entrepreneur extravaganza. Former E-Fellows, I mentioned the E-Fellows earlier, all 3 of these students, or graduates, I should say alumni, were part of the E-Fellows program. Matthew Jung, who graduated in 2018, is co-founder of Dead Veggies. Emily Kim, who earned a BS in 2015, is founder and CEO of 3 companies, which she'll talk about. And Miji Kim, who picked up her BS in 2017, is CEO of Misco Fits and MV Studios. And all 3 of them are going to join with Murray DL, Dean of the Merrick School of Business at UBalt, in a Q&A session where they'll share their journeys from undergrads to successful business owners. And once they're finished, we'll bring the judges back to announce the winners. So without further ado, take it away, Murray.
So, well, welcome. And I'm really happy today to be able to introduce to you, three of our graduates from our entrepreneurship programs here at the Merrick School of Business, and they've also been competitors and rise to the challenge. A number of other programs that we've run, so they're now successful entrepreneurs. So I'm going to introduce them. We've got Emily Kim, who's commutes somewhere between DC and New York, right, Emily? And
Yes.
a number of businesses. We'll talk about their business in a second. And Matt Jung, who's now out in Denver, and so welcome, Matt. And Meiji Kim, who's out in LA, right, Meiji?
Yes.
So listen, welcome, and maybe let's give everybody a sort of an overview about about what your businesses are about. So maybe Emily, just say a little bit about, so everybody's got we've got an even playing field, what your current businesses are about, what you're doing nowadays.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm pretty much everywhere right now. After I graduated, I started my first restaurant. From there, I wanted a corporate experience. So then I moved to New York, stayed in the corporate for cosmetic industry, stayed as a brand assistant manager. While I was there, I decided to actually start up my other following restaurant. So I'm actually in the construction for my new restaurant, which is the second one. And I recently got accepted to a accelerator program in DC called Uni Kitchen. I'll be opening up my CPG company within 4 to 5 months. And from there, I'll be probably distributing my first product to local regional stores in DC areas.
Great. Now we'll talk a little bit more about that. That's great.
Sure.
And Matt, dead veggies. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thanks for having me. My name is Matt Jung. I'm the founder of Dead Veggies. We're a manufacturer of premium ethnic condiments. We currently sell kimchi, which is a fermented spicy cabbage, kimchi habanero hot sauce, and kimchi pepper jelly. We're avid fermenters, and we do that very well. But what really drives the core of our business is really just the passion to evangelize our love for Korean food and culture through approachable, accessible product offerings. We pride ourselves in ancient techniques applied to contemporary ingredients and formats. Our philosophy is a really simple one. Just thank your veggies. I think here at Dead Veggies, we believe in honoring the selfless vegetables that sacrifice their lives to provide us with delicious, nutritious products. So while they live on in our memories and our stomachs, they simply don't get the praise they deserve. We always like to say, don't thank us, thank your veggies. Where we're at right now is we're currently wholesaling to about 7 restaurants in Denver, and we're gearing up for local retail across 3 different franchises and 12 locations in here.
Great. That sounds exciting. I'm going to order. So, Meiji, you're in LA. So what are you doing nowadays?
Yeah. Hi, B. Murray. It's so nice to see you guys again. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Meiji Kim, and I'm the founder of Misco Fits, LLC. I traditionally moved to LA with my boyfriend to continue pursuing my TV film career, which I am still doing. But Misco Fits was founded during 2020 after I was officially furloughed off of my restaurant job. After graduating from UB, I started my acting career actually when I was my last year at UB during the Entrepreneurship program. And then I ventured off into kind of trying to figure out how I can work from home, right? So I did a lot of e-commerce marketing, social media marketing, and then I understood how to do branding on the virtual side, which then led me to, run my business in Korea for a little bit when I was working at the Olympics. Fast forward, I'm in LA right now, and Misco Fits is a merchandising business for artists or businesses that want to create their own merch. And it is also a marketing platform for artists that want to share, their music and have us help them market their sound, but also push merchandise for them.
That's great. Now, I'm going to ask Matt a question, because Meiji, now Meiji, you're in a completely different business than what you had when you were at UB, right?
Actually, I'd like to I always, like, whenever I see Emily, I always have to shout her out. I think, first of all, it's really interesting how Emily actually inspired me so much to kind of venture into fashion. I was always into fashion, right? I've always been tomboy fashion. But when I first came to UB, I had my first interview with the Gazelles program, and Emily was there, and she was talking about how she was doing her e-commerce business, and I was like, wow, I really want to work, alongside with her and kind of learn. And having that hands-on experience with Emily and doing fashion shows and just running an e-commerce business helped me definitely create the foundation of doing my business right now, where I continue to use Shopify. The Shopify platform has changed so much from 2017 to now. And if I had not joined the Gazelles program or had her mentorship throughout the time, because it was a lot of pressure that I needed to learn while I was at school, because, creating a brand is all about refining the process throughout the process every step of the way. And I'm just really thankful to have found that spark when I first joined the UB program. And it's interesting how Matt also was pulled in by Emily. So this conversation is actually a huge shout out to Emily being the OG alum and us being continuations of her. So
that's great, because I remember Emily. I think were you in the first? I think you were in one of the first cohorts, right?
I am. I'm the
OG.
OG. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. It was good. And I'm going to come to you a couple of questions, Emily, in a second. But Matt, just for context, there, Dead Veggies, is that the business you started when you were on the Entrepreneurship Fellows or in the UBalt, or is this?
Yeah.
What was the business you had? What was
question.
the business you had? Did you morph or pivot?
Yeah. So coming into the Fellows program with my background in graphic design, the business that I originally came into the program with was actually an AR startup. So I was working with holograms, different kind of mixed reality medias. I actually pivoted a few times throughout that program, which I'm very thankful for. While the business is different, I think a lot of the skills, the knowledge, the competences transferred. Really, the only thing that's changed for me is the industry, competitive landscaping, just having a finger on the pulse of the industry here. This is actually an idea that I started right before I left UB. I moved to Denver about 3 days after my last final, even before I walked for graduation, because I knew that I wanted to take those skills and start something in the restaurant industry. I had a few friends out here who were very well connected, and so it's just a matter of effectuating and bringing all that together, kind of matching all the puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm. So both of you, so far, you got this kind of passion for either fashion or for food or restaurants or some combination of that, and you're able to keep it going and bring it forward. So that's fun. And Emily, you still kept the noodles business, right? Is that right? The ramen business. I'm sorry, the ramen business. Is that, you still have that?
I do. Yeah.
But you cycled, out of a food but back into food. What caused you to come back into food again?
I appreciated the entrepreneurship after I got into the corporate. It's a very, I would say, different animal. It's a different environment. I thought I wasn't actually going to, after I started my restaurant, I thought I wasn't never going to own my own business because it was so stressful. I just said, you know what, this is good for me. I had a good experience. I'm never coming back. Went to corporate and I found that, this is not what I had imagined. This is not what everybody talked about. I think that I need to go back and really start from the foundation of what I actually learned from UB. And that's when I kind of, cycled back to what I learned from the school and then started another restaurant. But speaking of right now, I'm actually closing my first business. I handed my keys to another buyer. So I'm no longer involved. Yeah, thank you. I'm no longer involved, but yet I'm still in the restaurant industry. But I think like what Matt has said, I pivoted a lot, but I think the food industry has a huge potential. So I think this is where I will be for a longer time than I expected.
And people are always interested, on on the inclinations you have, to go into business. So when I'm talking to students, sometimes they're looking for, the Facebook. They want to be the Facebook of the future. But other students I talk to in entrepreneurship, they've got some sort of passion for something, is around there, and they just want to exploit that. I mean, what do you, it sounds like the three of you have got sort of, there's a kind of fundamental passion you want to explore in something, and entrepreneurship's the channel for it. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. I would say so, yeah. I think it's also really important to recognize, like, this program, for me personally, like, I've had a lot of pivots myself, but it helped me become very, like, confident when I had to make decisions for my business too, right? Like, I feel like the experience that I had, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I'm sure, like, all of us, like, had a lot of stresses, like, going through this program, but, like, it prepared us for a lot of things that happen in our business, making decisions fast and being super, firm with, like, the decisions you make. That's really important because, I think, like, when I started my business, I understood that it's going to take time to build this brand. It's never, like, going to be an overnight success, but I definitely feel like I was able to implement a lot of the introductory stresses going through the cohort, program, which it made it easier to face, like, back to back in the real life. So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And going off of that, with passion and pivoting, even within Dead Veggies, I've pivoted a few times. We originally started as a wholesaler for restaurants. Obviously, when the pandemic hit, we had to pivot there and lean towards more consumer packaged goods. What I always like to tell people is I want to be stubborn in vision and flexible in the details. For me, the vision has always been ending up with some kind of restaurant, retail hybrid, Dead Veggies playing an integral part of that. But with the pandemic, of course, being able to pivot and, utilize who I know and what I have and what I know, being able to do that wasn't so hard, especially because the UB Fellows program gave such a great foundation, not just for the businesses that I started there, but for everything that I took with me after that.
And Emily, what was important for you in terms of what you learned at UBalt?
I would say, as much as I hated, or not hate, but it was very difficult for me to stay in the financials, Professor Wise has taught. That has came so handy when I'm actually Union Kitchen, where I'm starting my accelerator program. They're actually taking 10% of my company, and I needed to figure out if it was going to be a common stock. So all these things, financial terms, were now coming handy. It was not yet something that I was looking for. I never really knew that this was going to come in handy, but understanding the financial relatable topics and the things that professors have taught me in terms of management, in terms of the ethical understanding of the foundations, financials, and Professor Lingelbach telling us about the complication in starting up a business with startups, has really come in handy right now. But I did not know how helpful it was going to be at that time, but I'm so glad that they were the one who actually, who experienced all of what we're going through right now and has taught us and, got us prepared for what we are and what we're doing right now.
That's right.
I would like to also add on to that, if you don't mind. I think
sure, yeah, go ahead.
Really,
yeah.
I think it was such a great point that Emily just brought up about Professor Weiss's financial class, because I filed my business as an LLC, but like as I was doing that, I just remembered this one segment in Professor Weiss's class, literally in 2020, about how to register your business through like S-Class Corp or C-Class Corp to see where you can find more benefits to help your business in tax shelters, or just, financial like understanding of how you can kind of not avoid taxes, but like, find ways to find tax shelters for your business. Because if people don't take these necessary steps to further understand what is most suitable for their business, more like 9 out of 10 times they're probably going to be paying 30% or more in taxes that could have been reallocated throughout, if you had more financial literacy. And of course, I didn't understand a thing when I was taking this class, but the reason why I am so thankful for Professor Weiss's financial literacy class in the beginning is because it is so important to know in your actual business day-to-day operations. So that was a very big thing I wanted to add on to what Emily said.
Right. And Matt, is there, if you go back to your UBalt days, is there something stands out for you that you still take forward that was really important?
Absolutely. My answer is a little different. I think the greatest things that I took with me from the Fellows program, the things that I still use every day today, are one, the entrepreneurial mindset. I don't eat food the same. Every meal that I eat is a social media opportunity. Every restaurant I go to is a networking opportunity. Every comment on my Instagram is a possible sale. I just go about the world differently going through the program. I see opportunities everywhere. I think also not just making peace of chaos, but thriving in it, especially last year and this year, has been a really valuable skill throughout this pandemic. The second most important thing I would say is that the Fellows program instilled me with the confidence and the competence to share my vision and my business with people that need to be, aware about it. I think pitching every day, doing events like Rise to the Challenge, the admins competition, just being in front of hundreds of people, or even just 5 students in my cohort, day in, day out, having my elevator pitch down, it's definitely come in handy, and I've actually used my elevator pitch in elevators. So I would say that those are the biggest benefits and the things that I appreciate the most today.
I think that's great. Now I'm going to one last question, but I do have an observation. You can comment on it if you want. I mean, when I talk to students, you kind of, I think I'm going to use this because the three of you sort of, kind of sum up, some principles I talk to them about. Entrepreneurship is can be about vision, all right? So Matt, I think all of you kind of represent it, but it's also critically about details, as well.
Very,
I used to have a client who used to tell me that vision was where the rubber hits the sky, and I added on to that. Vision is where the rubber hits the sky, unless you've got the details to back it up, and then, in terms of what you need to be an entrepreneur, what you need to know, I mean, you need to have both this, we call them soft skills. I'm not sure that's a really good word, but that confidence, I'd be able to project, to present, but you also need some sort of technical know-how, without that kind of combination, so there's probably a simple formula, but if you don't have these in balance, I don't think you're going to be suited for an entrepreneurial career. And so,
absolutely.
So I'm wondering, this is, for each of you, this is a question, I don't know if this is a difficult question or not. Can catch it. If you think about where you were when you entered the program, okay, and you think of where you are now, and you were able to give yourself advice, what would be your piece of advice to your, now you're not all that old, it's not too many years ago, but what would your advice be to, to your younger self, as you're entering the program, given what you know now? No, I mean, I'll start with Emily, because you got the Fellows to go back, but you can, what would your advice be?
The OG group.
Right.
If I were to tell myself, Emily, please don't doze off and think about something else. Because while I was in class, all I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow for my business? Not really being in there, not really absorbing everything the professor has saying. My mind was somewhere else because I was also running my own business. So I was half there. So if I can go back, I would just say, just be there, your mind and your focus, just absorb as much as you can, because I'm telling you, it will be useful down the road in 5 to 6 years.
That's great. Yeah, I often tell, students, that, you never know when you're going to use something, you know, so whether it's in class or it's coming to a talk or even a session like this, you never know when you're going to be able to retrieve it, and it's going to be really important for you. So yeah, thanks for that, Emily. And so Matt, what advice would you give back to your younger self?
Yeah, well, Emily makes some good points. I actually still refer to a lot of the notes I took in class when I was at UB. I think I would give myself two pieces of advice. The first, again, as a graphic designer, I have a tendency to kind of be a perfectionist and want everything to be quite literally pixel perfect. What I've learned in the past few years is that while perfectionism is a strength, it can also be a weakness, and it can be paralyzing. You don't want to be anxious to suck, but at the same time, if you're waiting for a perfect plan, it's not going to come. What I always say is a good plan now, today, is better than a perfect plan in a month from now. And especially with the consumer packaged goods stuff I've been doing with Dead Veggies, I would say if you're not embarrassed by the first iteration of whatever you're putting out, then you're moving too late. The second piece of advice I would give is kind of off of that. It's just be shameless, lower your inhibitions. One thing I definitely wish I did more of at UB was ask for help. Take advantage of the resources that are available. You know, talk to the people at the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Just lower your inhibition, and you know, you don't have to be afraid to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. What I find is that even with, you know, competitors, people that are in the same industry, people that are working alongside of you, what it really comes down to is most of these companies are open to collaboration, and it doesn't always have to be competition. Being able to reach out and build your own support system, having less inhibition, and being shameless in, you know, promoting your business, asking for help, are things that definitely would have helped me speed up my process in growing Dead Veggies.
That's great, yeah. And you make a really great point, Matt, that I would emphasize for the audience. You know, the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, we've got a huge database. I mean, there's something like 90 mentors available, you know, so, you know, we can get somebody who's got some expertise on something, as well as, you know, a great network of alumni. So, you know, like the three
Absolutely.
of you. So you know, so thanks very much for that. And so,
Yeah,
Miji, what advice? Sorry, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I tell my parents all the time, you know, because they often give me advice. But the best advice is from somebody that is doing what you want to do already, or has done what you already want to do. And I think the CEI is a fantastic place to find people like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Matt. So, Miji, what advice would you give to yourself?
You know, I never really thought I would like answer this question for like a group of students, but it honestly has always been a dream of mine to do this, I guess. Just a quick, like, you know, backstory. I came straight from community college to UB. So I was already like, I'm trying to like just get my degree. I want to like pursue this career. I was in a very unknown area. I didn't think I would ever start my business. I didn't ever think I would become an actress. I didn't ever think I would meet dope people at UB. I think the two pieces of advice I would say is to take chances. And while you're taking these chances, to be completely humble throughout the process, as every chance that you pursue, you're going to meet people that are in different stages of their entrepreneurship journey too. And I think a lot of the times that I was very in my head at certain points of this program where I wanted to be better than this other student. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to like, you know, excel. But that competition amongst your classmates is not healthy. You know, it's better if like, I would say for anybody in the program right now, like just absorb as much as you can and just enjoy the experience of being in UB with the amount of support that is available at this program, because, you know, there's just so much to take in, and people can sometimes just feel like very paralyzed because they don't know where to start. So all I can say is that I found what I truly wanted to do by taking chances while I was in the program. And it's never too late. It's never too late to like start, but the problem about having the vision, right? Like Dean Murray, you said a lot of people are visionary. you have to execute. And if you don't execute while you have this vision, you're just going to be daydreaming all day, and that unfortunately doesn't make you money. This isn't about making money, but it's about, you know, creating the life that you want to build. So the first piece of advice I would say is absorb everything, just enjoy the experience of being in the cohort, and then B, I believe personally every experience that any entrepreneur goes through, like they will take something from that. When I moved to New York in 2018, mind you, I graduated in 2017. Dean Murray, you and I know exactly like my situation. I had a very I needed an extension to graduate because I was just like behind, but I made it happen, and it's finding solutions. So the second piece of advice I would say is like, if you need to like do a job on the side, or if you need to like have some sort of income on the side, I personally worked at Hillstone Restaurant Group. It's like the Woodmont Grill, the Capitol Grill sister restaurants in New York City, Park Avenue South. That corporate experience has absolutely suited me in my rhetoric, in my how I approach people. I was basically doing an elevator pitch every single table that I was serving, and that has most certainly helped me poise myself as a business owner. So no experience is too small or too big. Every experience matters, for sure.
I think that's a great point. I mean, that is, you know, I try and emphasize that with, you know, our students come to us, as you know, most of our students work in some place, you know, and so across all of the programs. And I always emphasize that any piece of experience is great experience. And you never know when you might be, you know, you're going to use it again. And I think you brought out a couple of other things for me as well that we talk about. You know, there's no, you know, there's a lot of, you know, people have sometimes a very singular view about what an entrepreneur is. It's a kind of a geekish view, but entrepreneurs can come from all, you know, here we have, you know, Miji, you're really, you want to be an actress, you know, a performer, you know, Matt, you know, is interested in, starts off as a graphic designer, you know, and then is interested in food. You know, Emily is interested in food and business and has that kind of background, but also kind of explores other things as well. So I think there's, you know, there are, you know, the great thing about entrepreneurship is that you can bring a lot of different experiences to it. And the last thing I would say, and this is really for the audience, for anyone in the audience who is maybe knows someone or is themselves considering whether they would want to join or be part of the Entrepreneurship Fellows program, and or one of our entrepreneurship programs, is that one of the things I've been really impressed with our Entrepreneurship Fellows, which is funded, you know, we're very thankful for this by the Ratcliffe Foundation. So our students who get selected for this, so these 3 people were selected for this, those who are selected for this, they have they have tuition and some expenses paid for, you know, to complete their degree. And but one of the things I've been really impressed with, and I think you've all demonstrated it, you know, the cohorts that we have there, they're very supportive of each other, and they're also supportive of each other across cohorts. And so I think I think that's actually a wonderful thing about you know, the program, is that we've been able to get that sort of supportive climate. So you won't be alone in this program. So listen, I really appreciate you joining us. You know, I think now you know, I think hopefully the judges have made a decision. I know it was probably difficult for them, but I'm sure they've made a decision, and so I'm going to thank you, and I'm going to pass it back to the judges. So Emily, Matt, Miji, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you so much for having us.
Right, that's great. Thank you.
Great, thank you all. It was an amazing conversation. It's so much fun to see you all back and learning all about what you've been doing over the last few years. So, you know, once again, I'd like to say thanks to the participants, the judges, the volunteers, everyone who has helped to make this evening so special. And especially, I'd like to thank Dean DL and the faculty and staff of the Merrick School of Business, and my assistant, Lori, for their support and guidance over these last few months. They've certainly been challenging. Thank you to our donors and supporters, including the Carton and Silberg and Ripley Entrepreneurship Funds and the Center for Advanced Ventures, and to Jason Tagler of Pitch Creator and his two coaches, Ron and Brenda, who helped our finalists prepare for this evening. And finally, I'd love to say thanks to Zephan and from ZMB Media and Marty from Focal Point Productions for all the amazing wizardry work that they're doing behind the scenes to make this live stream possible tonight. You all have no idea. It's sort of like being on network television. So I think right now we're going to announce our winners. First of all, without further ado, I should say, the winner for tonight's, the 9th annual Rise to the Challenge Business Pitch Competition crowd favorite. The award for this evening is this crowd favorite. I'm sorry, I can't even read what's going on. Roll the video, gents. All right, so the winner of the crowd favorite award is STEM Trick, Derek Lau. Congratulations. Congratulations, Derek. All right, $1,000. Okay, so the next award for the evening is the Baltimore Fund Award. Is that right? Nope, we're switching around here. The Aspiring Business Award winner. The Aspiring, next up is the Aspiring Business Award. Run the video. So the winner of the Aspiring Business Award is Switchboard Pedal Management. Way to go, Robert Myers. Congratulations. Attaboy. Great work tonight. All right, next up, the next award is for existing business. Roll the video. All right, so the winner of the Existing Business Award is Spiked Orchid, Nicole Mighty. Congratulations, Nicole. Well done. All right. So before we announce the rest of our winners, I just want to have a little public service announcement. We at University of Baltimore, UBalt, are teaming up with Loyola University this fall to host the Global Center for Entrepreneurship Conference, the GCEC Conference, which happens annually around the world, and we're very lucky to have it in person, we're hoping, fingers crossed, in Baltimore in this fall. It'll be hosted by us and presented at Loyola. And I want to just show a little promo video about it to give you guys a little bit more understanding, and you'll be hearing from us in the coming weeks as we talk more about it and get closer to the event. So roll the video, guys.
Starting route to Baltimore.
I have seen what the people who have come before you have gone on to do.
Of course, you have wonderful incubator startup spaces. I'm thinking now about Beta More, I'm thinking of City Garage, and I'm thinking of, for example, companies like Under Armour and McCormick, which have noted that for them, innovation is going to be one of the more important strategies.
This win was monumental for everything that we weren't even sure could be achieved.
You know, at the heart of any business is sometimes there was some creative spark.
Meeting the signs of the day and also evolving on an annual basis to sort of assess, you know, where can Loyola partner and at the same time educate our students in that process has been something that has been an ongoing evolution.
We all know that Baltimore is a remarkable place for opportunities and entrepreneurship and development. All that is a fact.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be a great opportunity for us to showcase Baltimore, Baltimore entrepreneurs, and the ecosystem that is so vital here, and show it to the world. So I hope everybody will be able to attend and support us. So we're going to move on. The next award for the evening is the Baltimore Fund Award. Roll the video. The winner of the $1,000 Baltimore Fund Award goes to STEMtrick. Round of applause. Way to go, Derek. Way to go to you and your team. Congratulations. All right, the next award is the Dean's Challenge Award. All right, so we actually have two winners for the Dean's Challenge Award this year. First is SpreadKarma, and the other winner is ShellPick. So they will be splitting that award. Congratulations to both of you. Well done, well done. Great. All right, now the last award for the evening, and the moment we've all been waiting for, the Most Promising Business Award. All right, so the winner of the Most Promising Business Award for this year is Spiked Orchid, Nicole Mighty. Congratulations, Nicole. Well done, everyone. Well done. So congratulations to all the participants tonight. And although not everyone will be taking home a monetary prize, I believe that all of you have demonstrated you are winners in one way or another. It's been an honor to meet you and to support you over these past few months. Honestly, the work that you have put into this competition amid the continued uncertainty of a global pandemic, a volatile economy, and national and regional unrest, not to mention managing to maintain your real, personal, academic, and professional lives in a virtual environment is nothing short of extraordinary. You're impressive. And it's my hope that I'm not the only one who feels that way. My wish is that you caught the attention of a number of new people interested in your idea or product, possibly some very influential people who can help nurture the growth of your enterprise and help you continue to develop as entrepreneurs so that you can continue to make our city and our world a better place to live. And that reminds me, if any of you out there in live stream land would like to learn more about any of the businesses you saw presented here tonight, please contact me directly. My email is on the screen. I'd be happy to share information and contact information and put you in touch. Thanks again for attending our event. Stay safe and have a good night.